reveal the truth.
I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, the date's today because the government says it is. Thank God they're going to stop daylight savings time. Thanks, America. Anyway, we're going to call it July 22nd. It's a Wednesday, 2026, guys. Thank you for being here. It is a great day. Lots of cool weather pouring down the middle of the Midwest, but then we'll have a little bit of that rebound this weekend. We are just right around the corner for August. August it's when all the kids go back, isn't it? We got to put them back in that government machine because we can't do without that. We have to have public education. Guys, do we have to have education? And I'm not asking that as in I don't see the positives of reading and writing and arithmetic. But my point is that we have... the amounts of people that are graduating with a lower than 80 IQ and the people that are graduating who don't understand just basic, simple, cause and effect, causation. See, the reason that I have been a bit of a cause and effect expert in a lot of ways is not because I wanted to be, not because it was something I sought out in a psychology class and thought it'd be a good research paper to waste my summer on. What happened was my daughter, Rebecca, with her illness that her and Lori had together while she was in her third trimester, I learned about certain functions of the brain, certain categories, certain processes in the brain. And one of the things that my daughter has is she has a deficit. Well, it's MMR, and yet the problem is that the retardation that is there, the slowness or the lack of in one part of her brain causes her to not see the loop of things. If I do this, this will come back. If I do that, this will come back. It's very similar to what we're facing in society today, where we got a lot of people who run around and don't have to worry about cause and effect of what they say or do. They just run their mouth because no one's going to hold them accountable because of gender, race, whatever the thing is. And so that's a problem for us as we go through these things. Now, a couple different things. I don't know if you guys have noticed lately that I did go ahead and have the website reworked. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to look at that lately. But the Jim Price Show is we're revamping the website, working on a few things. If you guys see errors or things I should fix, then please let me know, and I will take a look at that. But yes, the JimPriceShow.com is what I'm referring to. Now, going back to, I don't know if what we're seeing in our society is an elevation, and I really do believe that I think the crux of everything is never. My problem with, or the crux of this whole thing is that when we think about what we're going through in society right now as a whole, we have chemical things going into our body that we know cause mental, physical, all kinds of stuff. Then we have the environmental stuff that they're infecting the environmental, which then affects us. We have the spiritual. We have all these things, right? And I know that we divide ourselves by what color our skin is, what we do in our bedroom, or what's between our legs. And that, guys, I've broken that down. Every single topic you get into, it's what color of the skin, what you do in your bedroom, what's between your legs. That's how they keep you from getting to the real topics. That's how they keep you from getting to the real things, because you're not taking ownership for anything. Again, I will tell you that I worked my tail off, and notice I don't have a tail now. But I really wanted to make sure that I did as much as I could and went as hard as I could and provided for my family in a way I could. And yet we have people that are working with these lower IQs that believe that the government just owes them food and owes them air conditioning and owes them water and owes them clothes. I mean, I really find it fascinating how far we've gone with all this charity and how far we've gone in our society to say, well, no, we need education. Well, we don't have good education records. We're not graduating intelligent people. And there are studies. Now, again, you can get mad at me. You can say, well, you're just beating your drum the way you want to beat it. But there are studies that show that children, before going into public education, and this is a broad study that they did across color, gender, financial, regional, meaning different parts, and every single one of the kids after the first year lost IQ points. By the time they were in 6th grade, by the time they've had 7 years of education, they've lost anywhere from a third to half of their prior IQ levels as a baby. Now, we think of IQ, though, and we all say, well, that's how good you're smarter. You remember things good or better than everybody else. You're smarter, man. You big word guy. You IQ. Well, it has to do more with your ability to problem solve, your ability to work through life, to be able to get through life and say, well, you have common sense that you can see a thing and then do something about it. You can see a thing and you can go about fixing it. You can do these things. You can see a situation. Okay, I got to work at this. There's some problems to solve here. I can see the problems. I know what I got to do and move that forward. What I'm finding out, guys, is that we have lowered the IQ of this country so much that there are people out there that are so dumb they don't know it. Now, I will tell you, the more that I have learned about the body function, about spirituality, about energy, frequency, I know less and less and less about the world I live in. I know there is so much more out there in what I have learned that it concerns me because I don't see people working on this. I don't see people working on trying to get themselves better every day. And I wonder if that's okay for you guys. But I don't say I want to get better every day. I want to do more. I want to be bigger, bigger brained, bigger, problem solver, all that. And I like bringing more information in. I mean, I've learned probably in the last year, I probably have learned 2 or 3 different major functions of the body and how the body itself functions and how the different things that I've already got on my list that I do with my health and wellness coaching I do for people. The health and wellness coaching I do for people, I've got a list, and it's a pretty mastered list of basic functions. But what I keep finding out is as I keep learning new things about the body, is I see that I am tackling the major deficiencies in mineralization and functions of the body that really have to do with the mental and physical stability as well as the spiritual. There's a lot of things we don't really pay attention to in that way, and I wish we would. Brenda says it's not letting me pick up the comments. Ooh, that's not good. I don't know what's going on there. Why is my laptop acting weird here? All right, so let me check it out here real quick and see what's going on there. It looks like there's not any comments coming through right now at all, Brenda, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. See if I can find it. I do have the live feed over on Twitter's going well. Doesn't look like. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, you gotta love shadow banning, guys. And I wish it was different. I wish there was things that I could say that, it wasn't this way, this and that and the other thing, but it really is. This is what happens when I don't understand it. I do not understand this fact that we have I mean, I get. Oh, never mind. Never mind. You know what? I get the ego part of it. The idea that they want to shadow ban me, that they're afraid of what I say, just actually shows me really how terrifying I am to them. And it just shows their fear. If I get my message out, if my message gets out too far, might be slow. I had a hard time connecting. Yeah. But if my message gets too far, well, that would push back on their narrative. That's the only thing I can figure out, guys. Because I'm not saying anything that is not factual. In fact, most all this stuff I'm pulling off of their own stuff. And so it must be, it can't be that I'm lying. It has to be something else, right? Anyway. But this is, God, what a world we live in, right? Oh, Rhonda, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. All right, appreciate that. And yeah, she's over on the one there. I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's kind of weird that things are not going like they should. But Facebook is not happy with me. And it probably chaps their hide. They got to send me that $20 a month they send me. Good stuff. Courtney, good to see you. 3rd anniversary follower. What? Good to see you, Courtney. Thank you so much for being here. Finally, starting to get some feed. Oh, okay. Playing finally, starting to get some feed, she says. All right, well, very good. So, all right, now, I keep going on this IQ thing because I keep looking around, and I'm like, okay, wait. Okay, is there stupid people? Are there stupid people in every race? Yes, that's an answer. Are there smart people in every race? Yes. To what degree and how many? I don't know. But I will tell you this, guys. The bell curve for intelligence, the peak intelligence, is a very, very small part of our society, which means that there was a conversation going around about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago that there were these human bodies, these things we walk into daily, and we say they're non-player characters. They're part of the video game, but they're just a program that bags groceries all day. It just stands there and puts things in bag like this. This is all it does. It acts like it's picking something up and putting it in the bag, and you walk up to it and say, hey, where are the shopping carts? And it goes, huh? I don't know. Shopping cart place? So if you guys have gone into those situations where you see that, I wonder if reality is that not so much that we're fighting about the color of the skin or what's between your legs or what you do in your bedroom, but it's actually that we're fighting about those only because the argument is so low IQ, it can't solve the problem of how to not be those things. Does that make sense to you? Like how I'm trying to stretch this out to you is that we really don't see. I don't think these people see the fallacy. I don't think they see the weakness. And what I do believe I hear in a lot of the conversations about white privilege or supremacy, or oh, you can stand there in your arrogance. I can see your white privilege. Blah, 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 I can see this and that. But my problem is that, well, then there's black privilege and Asian privilege and Indian privilege and Mexican privilege. I mean, there's always in a moment where whatever situation you're in, there's going to be a person of privilege because they know somebody, they know something that you don't. And that doesn't make them better. They're just more equipped for the situation, which again, in that situation, they have a higher IQ than you do because they know the ins and outs. They can navigate this situation. But I'm wondering if actuality that we're fighting more of an intelligence issue because when people start talking about things of spiritual, political, financial, I mean, just you hear them and you're like, wow, you don't know this topic. And yet you will stand there. If you had a gun, you would shoot me in the face. You would make sure I was dead or executed, or you would make sure that someone else did it to defend the point that you're trying to make that you have no information about. And what I don't understand is the ability for the human being to not know shit from Shinola. but yet, demand that I believe they are the expert in any topic that they decide to yell at me about, or fight with me about, or maneuver about, but never really talk about the subject. Oh, you want to kick my ass because of what? You want to fight over that. And so this is what's showing me that there is a bit of a pattern here. Which then, when we talked to the lady yesterday about Turning Point and how things really switched and things really changed and things really weren't what Charlie wanted them to be, one of the things I said in that was when she said, you're not allowed to talk about it. Well, by definition, when someone is in a situation and you're telling people what they can and cannot talk about, oh, you can't talk about that, that is propaganda. That is a type of propaganda. That's all, folks. That is the type of propaganda that people don't pay attention to because they think that that's not propaganda. But when you have to control what people say, when you have to control what they think, you are propagandizing them. You are controlling them. And that's what propaganda is meant for, is to control, manipulate, get people to do things or think things they wouldn't normally think on their own. And that's why, listen, I believe why we have a deficit of common sense. The deficit of common sense is because the MK Ultra that we live in has got these people thinking that every little thing that comes to their brain and their little low IQ brain is God's gift. You know, you don't need to disrespect me. You don't need to be this. You don't need to do that. I'm this. I'm that. I'm a king. I'm a queen. Really? So my point of a lot of this, and I'm going to get back to some of the news of the day here in a minute, but I just want us to realize that a lot of the people that we're fighting against, a lot of the people that are on the left and right aren't the intelligent people that are arguing. I've heard a lot of people tell me things. And then like I said, when I was in Arizona and somebody told me that they walked up to me and they said, well, you voted for a rapist. I said, there's been no convictions to that. Yes, there has. I said, that was a civil case, which has a low threshold of evidence. And it was because of what was said in the thing was that he humiliated her and grabbed her. Not that he had sex with her or did anything with her. So when you do that and you don't do the shiny object, low IQ argument, suddenly the argument doesn't make sense to that person and then they lash back out at you. Now they're going to attack my traditional point of view, meaning I don't think we need to keep changing shit. I think a man and a woman make a great team to raise families. I think the synergy of the home and having a father-centered home is an amazing thing. But when I have someone who wants to argue with me about a situation that they really don't even have all of the facts on, by the way, this is usually where I can differentiate. When I can say, okay, I will show you the executive order that showed that Trump actually instituted a task force through the military to start monitoring all global elections globally and watching what we do back in 2016 or 17, one of his very first executive orders he put out there, or about the executive order he did about tunnel warfare to teach our military how to work within tunnel warfare. We don't remember that one. We don't remember all the different, and so when you say, well, what about these things? But when they say, oh, he's a rapist. That's an emotion. That's a thought. That's not real. He was impeached. No, he wasn't. Because impeachment passed out of the House and went to the Senate, it was never impeached. And so the problem with it is that this is where we have this, where people like to pick up headlines and then run with them as factoids. And they're not. These people run around and try to tell you, this is what I know for sure. Now, I do appreciate that there are people out there calling out politicians for their bad behaviors, which I am all about that. I think that we should do that often. I think we should be in here having that argument about, listen, this is, but when we think about the world that we live in, and we don't want to take an account for the people and the other people that are in this argument and other things that they're doing, when we don't want to give them credit for the fact that they are what they are. And by the way, listen, guys, if we started classifying people as smart and dumb, a lot of these arguments go away. Our government stops manipulating us. We become less controllable, and we become more in control. I shouldn't have to argue facts with someone who keeps telling me their emotional state about a topic. If I have to come to the argument and I have to stay on point, on direct point of what this or that or how this was said or that was said, and I have to be so accurate, and that person will try to hold me to an account down to the 1 billionth zero behind the decimal point, 1 bazillionth percent or whatever it is, whatever that zero is, I got to be so accurate. But then they can come up and say, well, I don't like him, so you shouldn't like him. What does that sound like? Now, the person who says, I don't want you to like them, and you can't like them, and if you don't hate them, then I'm going to hate you. How do you get to that point in your head where you decide that because you don't like the Chiefs, you hate the Chiefs because Mahomes and his little fancy walk and prancing around and his curly hair, you just hate that. And, well, now I can't like you, Jim. I can't watch your show. I can't do this. You know what, Jim? You said something about red hair, and I have red-haired families, and you said something about people with no eyelashes. And, well, I have no eyelashes. I got a cousin who has no eyelashes. All these things that become non-factual necessities to hate me for. That's all I'm hearing. I don't like Nancy Pelosi because she raised the cigarette age from 18 to 21. Not because I think you should smoke, not because I think that, it's an essential part of existing, blah, blah, blah. No, what I'm saying is it's none of your damn business. The government does not need to tell me when I can and cannot start my life. And if I want to buy a product, then why is there an age restriction? And where in the Constitution does my government get to limit me for my safety? If anything that the Constitution teaches us, and this is a Jim Priceism that has nothing to do with facts. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have a doctorate degree. I only play one on TV. I'm just making all this up. It's all weird, whatever. I do believe that the Constitution was written dangerously because doing dangerous things and letting dangerous things happen keeps you young, keeps you agile, keeps you from being European Unionish. It keeps you from being stuck in the mud in something that doesn't exist anymore. And I think that the guys and the girls that were all part of the whole thing of the Constitution, and yes, if we have to go in there, we'll make sure that, the lady Betsy Ross, who supposedly stitched the first flag, I think our country is dangerous. And not in a way that is like, oh, I'm going to die. The problem is that there's so many laws in the books. There's so much placating. There's so much kissing ass. There's so many of these people who are out there getting things that they do not deserve. None of these things they should be a part of, but they're getting to be a part of the breadbasket of America. But they've not contributed to it. So how do we get people to realize that you don't get to make shit up and then you're trying to say that is factual. You don't get to do that. See, I have to work at this show, and I don't know if you guys realize this, but when you're on this show and you kind of put yourself out there, these shows are out there on the internet, right? They're in Rumble and YouTube and all the other ones out there, Twitter and Twitch and different places like that on Q. And and all this is out there, but here's the thing. That means that I can be critiqued at any time. And I am. Guys, I have shadowed, I get red check marks. I get warnings, community violation warnings during the show. And when I get off the show, it will tell me that I've already been community violated. And I'm like, what did I do? And it just says you violated the terms of our agreement according to the community guidelines. It will not say you said the word cure, or you said the word the, or you said the word bug, or you said the word Jesus, or you said the word Muhammad, or you said the word Buddha. I don't know what they are. And this is the number one complaint of every single person I've ever talked to. They never find out what the true violation is, other than it's just a violation. And I think a lot of times it has to do with how many times, I think they have a threshold of how many times you get reported. If someone goes in there and reports you 3 times or 10 times, whatever that little number is, well, then they automatically community violate you. Then they run AI back through it trying to find the keywords that you piss somebody off. And by the way, guys, which computer programmer do you think is actually not a blue-haired nose ring dude? See, a lot of these computer programmers that we have today they're building the AI are people that are very, very woke. They believe that you can chop your wiener off and get pregnant. That's what these people believe that are doing a lot of this programming. And you guys think that they're not going to put their spin on the world? Have you not paid attention to shit since you've been alive? People put their English, their spin, their lean, their pressure on their ideology of what they want it to turn out like. Well, which is very human. Now we can go back down through the news of the day here and read a few articles. This Lindsey Graham thing with his sister jumping in, and I haven't got to catch you guys up on some of this stuff. We got Lindsey Graham, who died suddenly after going to a Ukrainian drone manufacturing facility, where then that drone manufacturing facility happened to have blown up, probably, and is or could be, will be, at the exact same Lindsey Graham was there. And that's why there's some problems with Lindsey Graham's death and the timing and some other things. And then all of a sudden now Lindsey Graham, the big warmonger, hey, let's get Ukraine some more bombs and bullets and blah, 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 blah. We got to help Ukraine. Oh, we got to help this country, that country. Just got to give billions away. Oh, yeah, Charlie Ward's war. Charlie Ward's, was it Charlie? What was it, Charlie's War? There was a Tom Hanks movie. Again, I'm not really agreeing with his lifestyle, but Tom Hanks movie. Was it Charlie's War or something like that, where there was a congressman who got caught up in the Iran-Contra affair, got caught up in a bunch of other little wars, and all it was, as he found out at the end, was just money laundering through the CIA and other 3-letter agency within the government. The government's been telling you guys in their movies, they've been confessing to you exactly how they did it and what they've been doing, but you don't pay attention. You haven't watched the movie Wag the Dog, and that's on you. Or The Matrix. Watch them back to back. We've got a lot of situations in our country where I think that this whole thing with Lindsey Graham and how this is going to turn out is going to be a more telling Cool Kids Club situation than we've really ever experienced. Now, Lindsey Graham's sister, who supposedly he adopted and raised, is now going to run for his position in North Carolina, which, again, guys, if you don't understand the Cool Kids Club, just watch this. Watch how all this plays out. Watch how all this plays out. This is Cool Kids Club shit. Lindsey Graham, oh, yeah, his sister's going to step right back in. Oh, yeah, she's got political aspirations. Oh, she was a politician before. She did public administration. Well, what about Mitch McConnell? Hasn't Mitch McConnell died like 3 or 4 times in the last 8 months or 2 years? Mitch McConnell's looked like hell since before Trump got elected. But somehow that heel dragger is still walking the halls of Congress, voting like a fiend, just out there giving her the button. Yeah. Cool stuff. So, remember I told you guys in the beginning of this Iran conflict that those people cannot do things without actually trying to save face. They're not going to allow for a defeat of themselves. They gotta figure out a way, right? They got to figure out a way to allow themselves to have a victory, and that's what they're shooting for. I think that's what a lot of this has to do with. If they had rolled over in the first 10 days, yeah. ICE arrest illegal previously deported 5 times after explicit text sent to ICE agent he thought was a 14-year-old girl. Today, I happened to be watching or got to be a part of today on the Royals. I'm going to switch to sports real quick. The Royals, Salvador Perez has tied with Pete Rose in the home run for the franchise record. Today, Salvador Perez had a 2-run homer in, I think it was the 5th or the 6th, and was allowed, had that. So he is now tied with George Brett. He is a current Royals. He's a Puerto Rican with his family. Very big community guy, very big family guy. So anyway, that happened. What's this? Brent says, I heard Lindsey Graham died exactly the same thing that his father died of. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Aortic separation is actually the heart attack gun, which is what we all talk about. By the way, the heart attack gun was developed in the 40s and 50s. It is a frozen dart that can be shot across a room. It will inject snake venom into your body, and within 2 weeks, you will have a heart attack and die. Aortic separation. Sound familiar? Well, careful. It's a bad deal out there. Also, let's spin off to sports a little bit longer. The Caitlin Clark for the Indiana Fever. I don't know if you guys ever did. I don't know if you knew or not. There's a Wichita. There's a Women's National Basketball Association, just like there's the Men's Basketball Association. Well, there's a WNBA. What's W for? Wait, WNBA? Oh, it's NBA. Yeah. So it's the Women's National Basketball Association, and it's the MBA, Men's Basketball Association. What's the N? What am I thinking of here? Am I seeing this wrong? Am I having like a stroke here? Am I doing this wrong? WNBA. Oh, so it's the National Basketball Association, but it's the Women's National Basketball Association. They just couldn't be a woman. They had to do it as Okay, I screwed that up in my head for some reason in the beginning of this. Well, anyway, Caitlin Clark came out of Iowa and did a lot of great things for girls college basketball, and then went into the WNBA. And as I've screwed up the NBA and WNBA, and I showed you how that all works, she went in a year or so ago, and they have literally done everything they can to kill that woman on the court. Now, as we have the dichotomy of LeBron James, the 18-year-old man some 20 years ago got promoted out of high school right to the NBA, and everybody decided he was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and everybody kissed his ass. His ego is so far out of control that every time you just brush his little yellow jersey, and he falls to the ground. Completely opposite, Caitlin takes a knee to the thigh, and she's like, after the play's done, after the ball is done, and after the whistle's blown, she says, hey, by the way, I got kneed in the thigh. Can you call this more often? I'm having a problem being beat up here. And if you want to see where a woman who is taking responsibility for her actions and what she's doing, but also trying to do her job, that's what I'm going to see in Caitlin. But if you want to see a woman who flops around and lacks privilege and acts like they got a low IQ all the time, I'm going to say LeBron James. And LeBron James, I don't give a shit if you're 20 feet tall and 10,000 pounds. You are a big old flopping girl. You look like you're a weak little wussy who goes around, and every time somebody touches you, you go, oh, my fingernail, I got an owie, my hangnail is all sore. I got to go to the locker room, coach. But you gotta promote my son. You got to bring my son in the NBA, and that way he can be NBA with me. Yay, son. Does that sound like what a man would do, where he would go and bring his son out of high school and out of college before he's prepared to go in the NBA, doesn't have enough talent? You think I'm going to make sure he goes in there to fail? Well, that's what LeBron did to his kid, and his kid has not been doing well in the NBA at all. But hey, right, James? You're the smartest ever. Sorry, buddy. I don't believe what you do is that fantastic. And I've watched Larry Bird. I watched Magic Johnson. I watched Irving. I watched Steve Nash. I mean, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Rodman. Hell, Rodman's I would take Rodman 10. I would take it to the infinity before I would ever pick LeBron James on my team. Rodman, I would take that dude today against LeBron James. All day long, twice on Sunday. I guarantee you Rodman would beat the brakes off of that dude. But he's completely opposite of what Caitlin Clark can be or is. She is the superstar of the WNBA. She has amazing talent from the logo to shoot like a 29-pointer. I don't know what the point ratio should be when you're shooting from the half-court mark and you're just draining them. But again, she's doing it. And do you see her on the press? Do you see her in podcast? Do you see her at the... No, she is saying, hey, I need calls played. I need you guys to start hitting the fouls. Minato LeBron, he'll get in front of any mic, and he'll go to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, he'll go to a premiere movie, and he'll start complaining about how he gets fouled too much in the NBA, how he's not getting calls, and how he's trying so hard to bring the NBA to a higher level of game. Anyway. Well, bug-eyed Kash Patel, the guy who looks like he's looking at his mom's underwear for the first time. New reports say FBI Kash Patel is planning a trip to Russia later this year. He is scheduled to visit Russia October 14th and 15th. The official said that it's likely Patel's visit will be hosted by the FSB, the Russians' security force that was created by the KGB. Wait. He'll be hosted by the FSB, the Russian security force that was created after recreated after the KGB was dissolved. Okay, so he's going to, so FSB, what's FSB stand for? I guess it's like our FBI. Let's see. The report said Patel's itinerary is uncertain, as is the potential of any meetings with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Robert Mueller, the special counsel for investigating the Russiagate hoax, was the last FBI director to visit Russia during the 2013 years. Well, 2013, that was Uncle Barry, wasn't it? Boy, I sure wish that would have worked out better. You know, guys, listen, let me do this. Can we have had a better Milano president? I mean, Barry really missed the mark on it. You follow what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't what it needed to be, and I wish it would have. I mean, seriously. But he didn't take that opportunity to do things and make the world a better place and make it more free. So, I don't know. I just wonder what this is about. But the man who built his entire political career casting doubt on Russia elections interference is now planning to personally shake hands with the Russian intelligence officials. So the FBI director who says Russia, 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 right, is going to go talk to the Russian intelligence? I don't know. We'll see how that goes. All right. Today, Trump did visit the military transfer of personnel of the individuals who have passed. We've had several of our servicemen pass in the last week or so. Here we've had 4. There was two or 4 of them that came back today. Trump did go out to visit those returns of those servicemen, and he saluted them and was present and did not fall asleep standing up like Uncle Joe. So, good stuff. These are all things. Oh, the Mandani is going to... Mandani's going to arrest... he said he's going to use the International Criminal Court, which is the ICC. And by the way, guys, we're talking about the ICC, which is the same courts that if you were talking to people that are heavily around Q, that were heavily around the sovereign citizen, they all talked about the ICC, the International Criminal Court. And in fact, then even in the secure party creditor groups, you would hear the ICC come up a little bit, but only for adjudication, not for taking other people down. But Mandani is saying that there is a warrant, there has been a warrant issued for Benji from that International Criminal Court, and that he is to be held accountable for his wartime criminal activities. But that same group is also wants to go after people like Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and things like that. So I don't know if Mandandi's actually realizing that the ICC, if we start using that like he's saying, it may not be as good as he wants, because if I remember right, AOC has a warrant for her arrest as well from the ICC. So this is, guys, I want to say that there's a lot of people out there playing politics, playing authority, doing things that we really kind of wonder what they're doing, but this is a thing. And now Mandandi has actually brought it into the limelight. I don't know. Hey, Luther Bradley, good to see you. Awesome. He says, awesome, I made it to class. Sorry I'm late. Hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you, Luther. Appreciate that. New York City Mayor Zoran Mandandi said his administration is in active internal conversation with the city's law department over whether he could direct police to detain Israel Prime Minister Benji if he travels to New York in September for the United Nations General Assembly. President Trump said Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States, because he has diplomatic immunity, Mandandi, and that's why it has nothing to do with your International Criminal Court or the effectiveness of those warrants. It has to do with the fact of what we call diplomatic immunity. Cool Kids Club. I am in a group of people who get each other out of trouble. Irrespective of how one feels about the Gaza conflict or the current U.S.-Iran conflict, Mandandi's attack on Benji is a part of the consistent position he has held from the beginning. He has maintained an anti-Israel, anti-Jew, pro-Palestine stance and now appears to support the IRGC. Now, I don't care. The anti-Semitism thing, that's not, I'm an anti-Muslim, so and I see, if I'm a Christian and I believe that Christianity is the way to heaven, then I have to then reject all other religions. So anything that is not what I consider to be my Christianity, I have to respect or push them away as false prophets, false teachings. But for somehow, some way, if I say I don't think Israel should be bombing people in the Middle East, I'm an anti-Semite towards the Jewish lineage. I do not understand that. Guys, I have tried to figure that part out, and I don't know what it is. But anyway, Zoran's trying to do that. Yeah, that whole privilege thing, I don't think you guys are quite picking up how big that really is. Delta Airline flight warned of MANPAD, MANPAD report at LaGuardia. It was basically a report of a rocket launcher. So they said that they had a report that somebody in the area of the runway was going to have a rocket launcher, or there was a threat of a rocket launcher use around LaGuardia. I can't get my suitcase out of an Uber without the curb police yelling at me as I'm actively walking to a car with a suitcase or pulling a suitcase out of a car, for them to blow the whistle and for them to yell at me to move when I'm moving to get out of the way, but they're now delaying the progress I'm having by having the conversation that I need to get out of the way. But yet, we're just going to let people know that there might be a rocket launcher in the LaGuardia area. Hey, there might be a rocket launcher, so be careful when you're landing. I can't get on an airline ticket, white guy, long hair, beard, disabled vet card. I have a Sam's card. I've got my debit card, and yet I can't get into an airplane without having that photo ID checked twice, once at the counter and once at the security check-in, and even sometimes after that at the gate, depending if they have a problem. I've been asked for my ID at the gate before. And if I want to change my ticket, even though I've given all this information, they want ID again. But yet we can have a warning. I actually watched the video on this, or I'll play the audio for you. This is I watched this. I actually watched this today, and let's just listen to the audio of what the air traffic controller says to the airplane coming in. No, don't do a commercial.
Your power company doesn't want you to know.
I hate. Okay, here we go. You want to listen in?
Putting my life at risk by sharing this.
Staying
silent isn't an option. If this doesn't go viral.
Stop.
All right, Delta 2604, LaGuardia Tower. Wind 210 at 10, runway 22, clear to land. Man-pad alert issued at LaGuardia Airport at 0027. Use extreme caution.
All right, clear to land, runway 22, Delta 2604. And could you explain what a man-pad is?
Yeah, that's a man portable air defense system. Yeah, it's basically it was a report of a rocket launcher.
Okay, where was that?
There was a report by the Port Authority Police. They said by, I believe, Terminal C. We had conflicting reports, but nothing has been an issue as of yet.
So I'm sitting here listening to that, and it's like they're talking about very casually, but they're talking about it as in, yeah, this is happening. This is a thing, and we need to be aware that there might or may not be a rocket launcher in the LaGuardia area. But yet, if I was a foreigner who couldn't speak any English, and I walked up with a piece of paper without a driver's license, social security card, any kind of identification, especially 4 years ago, I could travel freely all over this country and not have to worry about a background check. But yet I go to the airport, and I got to have ID. They have to scan it. They have to do all this stuff. Why is it that to get into an airplane, they have to document and know exactly who I am? But I can get into trains, I can get into subways, I can get into buses, I can go into public buildings, and all that's not necessary. Why is it I have to have so much ID scanned? Why do I have to have my eyes scanned? Why do I have to have all this face recognition shit going on in my airport? And by the way, when was the last time you went in an airport and said, oh, I can see they wanted an airport here? Why is every airport, like all the jet bridges are the different? Not because of the size of the plane, because every jet bridge can accommodate every size of plane. But yet there's jet bridges that are all different shapes and sizes and all different angles, and they're not evenly spaced throughout the airport, and they're all in these different weird places. Anyway, I keep going on airports. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. But, guys, when I have to go into an airport and I got to do all these things, but then all of a sudden now we got reports of rocket launchers from Port Authority, you got to start running what the hell's going on here. Why it is I have to play by all the rules, but nobody else seems to. The elites, the illegals, who has to actually do their job the way that, anybody? All right, guys. Well, that's going to be about it for me. It's been a great show. A lot of great comments out there. Good seeing everybody. Maybe we need to fly with Jim. I never had this happen to me. Well, yeah, I got to get the old. And it didn't it's the idea, guys. Like, When can we just have freedom? When does the government quit trying to figure out who I am and what I'm thinking and trying to get me to do things I don't want to do? So what? Wait, the government has turned into the demon? The government is being used in a demonic way, in the way that it's actually manipulating and controlling people's thoughts and processes and how they dictate their day and whether they want to be angry or not. That's what we've done with our MK Ultra and our government. Wow, that sounds like an abusive relationship. All right, guys, it's going to be about it for me. Remember the 10% we do for our neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government. The more you do for them, the less they have to do for you. Learn how to be selfless and not so damn selfish. The world will be a far, far better place. Remember, hold the line, hold fast. Do not give up. Do not give in. We'll win. I promise I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember that Constitution limits the government, but never limits you. You've always been the answer, so act like it. Be the constitutional representative republic that we should all be. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys will be good to each other out there, and I will see you guys tomorrow.